बोलोमी गुप्ता ने अटेंडेंस दे दिया। Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We are a minute away, just a minute away from starting the class. So I will just wait for people to come in. We already have around 80, 85 people. Let's have some more people so that we have a full house and then we can start the class. Some more join, maybe another 30 seconds, 35 seconds. Good numbers. Am I audible? Can you hear me, Shyam? Shyam, can you hear me? Okay, great, wonderful. Okay, it's time, so we start. Good afternoon, students. We will be over the next 45 minutes talking about two very important elements of Indian cuisine. These two elements are a part of the bouquet of gravies that are the basic master gravies of Indian cuisine. We already have done makhani and brown gravy in earlier classes. So today we will be talking about two different gravies. We'll be talking about the yellow gravy, which is sometimes also almost an addition to almost a derivative of the shahi gravy, which is the white gravy or the white paste that we talk about. And we will also be talking about a gravy or a masala which is called kadai masala, which is again a master masala for Indian cuisine. Sometimes it is also called joshina, and we also will be using it in tandem with the kadai masala, which is a combination of certain spices. Which, when we come to that, we will see the combination of the spices. And after that, from each one of these gravies, from the kadai gravy as well as from the yellow gravy, we will be preparing a dish. So not to make you anxious, the dishes that we're going to do from the yellow gravy, we're going to make a malai kofta, and from the kadai masala, we are going to do a kadai mud, a chicken kadai. Okay. So to start with, I will primarily start with the cooking of the gravies, and then because these gravies need a little bit of a cooling time, and they will have to be blended later on. Both the gravies the yellow gravy to a very large extent blending, and the chopped gravy or the kadai gravy will need partial blending. So because we need to cool them and we need to blend them, so we will prepare the gravies quickly, and in the meantime we will start the preparation of the dishes that we are going to prepare out of this. Okay, so we'll need a little bit of cooling time and then blending time, and then we come back to the gravies. Okay, so I'm starting with the yellow gravy. Okay, now as I said, yellow gravy is an extension, or you can say a derivative of the white gravy, or you can say shahi gravy. Some people call it white gravy, some people call it shahi gravy. So what is this gravy? It's very simple. It's a blend of certain of onions, of ginger, garlic, and some dry fruits. When we say dry fruits, we talk about cashew nuts, and we also talk about the melon seeds, or sometimes we call it a combination of melon seeds, which is called char magas. which is basically different varieties of seeds. It could be watermelon, it could be cucumber, it could be some other melon, and many other seeds which are combined with each other. There are some chefs who also put poppy seeds into this mixture, but that restricts the use of these gravies for a longer time, because poppy seed paste will make them get a little bitter much faster. Now, one very important thing that I would like to tell you is that it's very important to cook the onions in the yellow gravy to a particular consistency of caramelization. We don't want it to become brown gravy. We don't want it to remain very white also. So the balance of the color, so we will basically be looking at the onions becoming slightly brown on the outside, caramelization of the onions on the outside, and then as soon as that happens, we will cool it down by adding some water, and then we will add other ingredients to the gravy. So let's start with I'm going to initially put the heat to medium, and I'm going to use ghee, half of ghee and half of oil for the gravy. So I have vegetable oil and I have some ghee, half of it. And now what I'm going to do is, okay, just a reminder before I start is you can all ask your questions. Chef Sudipto will be the moderator for this session. He will be moderating and he will be sending me this questions over WhatsApp. And I will be looking at the questions somewhere in the middle and somewhere towards the end of the session. Okay, so let's start with the preparation of the yellow gravy. So just to show you, for a yellow gravy, you can actually use onions which have been sliced, thinly sliced. Of course, you all know that there are two ways of slicing onions. One is width ways like I'm doing now, and another way is to do the slicing lengthwise like we do lachha onion, etc. Okay, so I just sliced the onions both ways, and the onions are here. So as soon as the oil, and why did I add oil to this gravy? Because you all know that the ghee has a very low smoke point, and we will need to crackle some spices in here. So if we leave only the ghee there, so what is going to happen? This ghee is going to burn. So I added a little bit of oil to it. So what I'm doing is I'm adding 2 bay leaves into the gravy, some cumin seeds, 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds. I'm adding 1 inch of cinnamon, and I'm adding around 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 cardamoms, and I'm adding around 4 cloves into this. So 4 cloves, some bay leaf, 4 cardamoms, and 1 inch, piece of cinnamon. And I'm not putting any more whole spices into this. So we are going to add a lot of powdered spices towards the end when we make the kofta. But as of now, so I'm waiting for this to crackle. As soon as it starts, the masala start to crackle, I will be adding in the onions first. So we have, let me take you through the ingredients. We have onions, sliced onions. We have ginger garlic paste, which has been pre-prepared. We have red chili powder. We have cumin powder. We have coriander powder. We will be using a lot of haldi or yellow chili powder, whatever you have, and very little red chili powder here because we're making a yellow gravy. And then initially, I will also be putting in some green chilies into it when the onions are already sautéed, so that it gets that kick. And then of course I have cashew nuts, and I have char magas, which is basically a collection of. Okay, so my masalas are crackling now. I will start by putting in the onions. So I have some pre-cut sliced onions. So I'm going to put these onions in. Okay, as I told you, it's very important to understand how much to cook the onions, because if the onions start getting too much colored, then unfortunately you will be making a brown gravy instead of a yellow gravy. So it is an onion which is not boiled like you would boil it for the white gravy, and it's not browned the way or caramelized the way we would have done for a brown gravy. So it's somewhere in between. So the best way of understanding it is number two things. One, the onion has to be consistently sliced. If you have uniform sliced onions, so most of the onions will start browning or caramelizing at the same time. If you have ununiform slices of onions, then what's going to happen is some of them are going to brown and some of them are going to remain white. So consistently slice the onions. There I showed you two ways of slicing onions. If you have a nice slicer, you can start by doing in a nice slicer. Okay, so we will have to in between keep on stirring this till the time the onions start kind of browning. Okay, so there is also a little bit of a shortcut. It's a creative, it's a shortcut which is not counterproductive. It increases the speed of browning of the onions. So that is very simple. We add a pinch of salt into the onions. Because I have a limited time class, 45 minutes, I'm adding a pinch of salt. Otherwise, normally, if you have time, you can let them, caramelize of their own time. Now, what happens to the onions when I add the salt? It's very simple. You all know in the theory we have studied that salt can be a very important dehydrating agent. Okay, I always give this example is when you go sunbathing, you go into the sea water. So after you come out of the sea water, you see that the skin has shriveled. It's because the sea water or the salt has taken out humidity out of your body. So it's exactly like that. So when you put salt into the onions, they will start leaving water or liquid, and then we will have a faster caramelization. Now I will just cut the green chilies. I will slit the green chilies, and because I don't want this gravy to be too spicy, I will just remove some seeds out of this. Okay, if you wish to make it spicy, you can still leave the seeds in, but because it's a creamy gravy, it's a mild gravy, and it's expected to be served with things like things with kofta, or maybe you can do a fairly good Awadhi chicken from this gravy. So you normally should take out the seeds, because otherwise it's going to become very spicy. And in the end, in the middle, when we are adding the spices, we are also going to add a little bit of red chili powder. Although I am using Kashmiri chili, which is not very spicy, but still to keep the spiciness mild, you should generally add a little bit of green chilies which have been de-seeded. Okay, so if I can show you the condition of the onions, they are just about in a situation where they have started browning on the sides, because I have a fairly high setting on the induction. So it's going to take a few seconds. In the meantime, let me prepare rest of the items. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these spices in the proportion. First, I will take coriander powder, 1 full tablespoon of coriander powder, a teaspoon of cumin, and 1.5 teaspoons of turmeric. Remember, we are making yellow gravy. And just half a teaspoon of red chili powder, just to it is they say for the color to come out brighter, you add a little bit of red chili. It is the other way. If you are making a gravy which has predominant color of red chilies, you add a little bit of turmeric. And if you speak to Khan Samas, they will say rang khilta hai, because the color is much brighter, much better. If you add, or if you're using yellow, then you add a little bit of red chili powder. So uh, the onions are at the stage where they've started browning on the side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now first add the ginger garlic paste. I will add 1 big tablespoon and 1 teaspoon of ginger garlic paste into it. Because you are blending this gravy, you can also add chopped ginger and chopped garlic into this gravy. But you have to remember again, consistently sliced, consistently chopped. Otherwise, you will not get consistent flavors and you will not get consistent color. So, onion, ginger and garlic paste goes into the gravy, and again we will wait for some more time for it to cook. And again the same thing, you have to take it to a very light brown color, not the brown color that you would generally expect in brown gravy, very light brown color. Okay, so some more time, and I have to be very careful that once the onion and the ginger and garlic starts leaving oil, and otherwise what's going to happen, it's going to start sticking. If it starts sticking, then you won't be able to restrict the coloring of this. So I have to be very careful that it does not stick to the bottom. I will keep on stirring it, and in the meantime my spices are ready. The green chili is ready. At this stage I can add little bit of green chili into the gravy, because that's going to add a little bit of flavor to the gravy. So you have a good blend of the flavors of the cardamom, a little bit of sweeter cinnamon, and then you have the sweetness of onions and ginger and garlic which is there in the pan, and the spices are here. And once the spices are added, I'm going to add a little bit of water into this gravy. And after that, after I'll cook the spices for some time, and then I'm going to add my cashew nuts, and I'm going to add charmagas. I will remind you, there are certain recipes which say, like the white paste, you add some poppy seeds, or khaskhas. Some people call it khaskhas, some people call it posto. But then it is a little risky, and it needs you to be very sure about the proportion. And at the same time, then probably the gravy cannot be kept for a long time, because it will start turning a little bitter. Okay, so I started cooking the gravy on medium heat, initially high, then I brought it down to medium to caramelize the onions, and now I have brought it to high again, because now my caramelization is done. And at this stage, I am going to, there is also a very important understanding of the use of ghee. As I told you in the beginning, that ghee is a fairly low smoking point. So if you use ghee in isolation, then what's going to happen is it's going to start burning. Okay, and it's going to then you have to cook at very low temperature. If you cook at very low temperature, you won't get caramelization. So it's very important that you add some oil into the ghee, especially if you're cooking in large quantities. Okay, so my caramelization is done. At this stage, I'm going to add this combination of spices. Okay, you can also add this combination of spices, mix it with some water if you wish, but then it will also try and give some better color. But what we're going to do is we're going to anyway saute it, and after I see that it has cooked a little bit, I'm going to add water into this gravy, and then of course we follow it up with char magas and cashew nut. This is a very sensitive phase in the gravy, because if these masalas burn and you don't have the right temperature here, so what's going to happen is, the spices, especially the powdered spices, will start burning, and that is not going to give a great flavor and taste to the gravy. So just a little bit of water now. I'm going to add more, but just a little bit of water to regulate the temperature and uniformly cook the spices. You can see how the gravy looks now. It's almost a mixed mass of all the ingredients that we added. Okay, and I'm going to cook it for just 1 more minute before I add in water. Once this gravy is already cooking, it is simmering, we'll reduce down the temperature, we'll cover it, and then we will start making our kadai gravy. Okay, now a little bit about the utility of these gravies. These gravies can be used in a multitude of dishes. The yellow gravy especially can be used in a lot of dishes that probably have the name zafrani, that have the name malai. Although malai is something very different, which we have started mistaking for cream. Malai would not be the normal milk fat that is available in packets these days. Malai was much more. It had more, little bit of casein. It had milk solids. It had a little bit of sugar from the milk, and of course it had the fat. So malai paneer or malai sabzi, or you can do a little bit of kurma, yellow color. There are certain kurmas which are yellow in color, so you can do kurma from this gravy. I have added in that extra water, which is going to homogenize this gravy. And now, once it starts simmering, I will add in cashew nuts, all of them, and which is almost around 60-70 grams of cashew nut. And I will add some part of these char magas, around 20 grams of char magas, 20-30 grams of char magas. Now, very important. If you are using cashew nuts in a darker gravy, it is always prudent that you primarily fry the cashew nuts. Now, frying the cashew nuts, we have all the chefs will agree. Professional chefs will agree that we have all committed a mistake while frying cashew nuts right in the beginning of our career, because we need to know when to stop frying cashew nuts. Okay, because all these nuts, not only cashew nuts, all the nuts contain oil. There is a little bit of similarity between cooking nuts and cooking spices, because all the nuts contain essential oils like almond oil. You must have heard cashew nut also has some oil. So what you need to do, as soon as you heat these nuts will start heating up from inside, and once you remove them from the fire, the latent heat inside the remaining heat inside will keep on cooking them. So whenever you cook cashew nuts or almonds, etc., you need to know exactly when to stop. Okay, the gravy started simmering. The cashew nut goes in, the whole of cashew nut, and around 20 grams of char magas. Okay, so I'm actually trying to eliminate the extras from my okay. Now what's going to happen is, I'm going to reduce the temperature here, medium temperature, and I'll have to keep on stirring it. And in the meantime, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to cover this gravy. Okay, so let it cook. Great. Okay, so now we go to the brown gravy. The whole spices are here. We'll leave them here, and I'm going to leave the ghee here. I'm going to leave the cumin here, and I'm going to change my spice for the brown gravy. Onions, tomato. I'll take you through these ingredients once again. Okay, for the kadai gravy, we have chopped ginger, we have chopped garlic, we have very finely chopped onions. If you're cooking in bulk, you can have roughly chopped onions. We have chopped tomatoes without seeds. We have cumin, whole cumin. We have bay leaf again. We have cumin powder. We have coriander powder. We have red chili powder. Now this plays a very important part in this gravy, and the turmeric plays a side role. Then we have whole spices. In this, I have an extra whole spice, which is javitri, mace. I'm sure you know what is mace. Mace is the outer covering of the nutmeg. Okay, so if you go and see a tree where nutmegs grow, the mace is actually like a covering on the outside covering of a nutmeg tree. So we'll be adding in some mace, and of course we'll have cinnamon, and we will have cardamom, we will have cloves in this. Okay, so just one more stir here. It's going to take some time to reduce, and the onions are going to become softer. Once the onions have become softer, I'm going to remove it from the pan, and I'm going to leave it to cool down, and then we are going to blend this gravy. This gravy has to be very creamy, so it will be blended and then it will be strained. Okay, so let's start with the the kadai gravy. Now slightly less temperature, ghee and oil again, just a little bit of oil. And now we will start with the whole spices. I'll start with bay leaf, 3 bay leaves, then cinnamon first, green cardamom, 8 numbers, 1 mace, it's called a blade of mace, and around 5 cloves. Okay, and once they start crackling, I'll increase the temperature now. Once they start crackling, then I'm going to add in the cumin, whole cumin, and then we will start by adding the chopped onion, the chopped garlic, the chopped ginger, and the chopped onions. We'll cook them to a fairly golden brown color. And once they are already golden brown, we are going to add in the spices. I will add in the spices like I added in the first gravy. Here on, I'm going to add a little bit of water into the spices because I want more red color to come out. And then, of course, we are going to add the chopped tomatoes. And I have some more chopped tomatoes. We'll see how much tomatoes we need in the gravy. And once this gravy is also simmered and cooked, we are going to again take it out. We're going to cool it down. We're going to blend only half of it because I'm making a kadai masala, which is supposed to be kadai gravy, supposed to be a little coarse. So I'm blending half of it and leaving half of it coarse. Okay. So the spices have started crackling. The whole spices. I'm going to add in chopped ginger, 1 tablespoon, chopped garlic, 1 tablespoon, and saute it. I will move the pans. The yellow gravy goes onto the other pan, and because it becomes easier for me to stir. Okay, now we don't have to worry too much about browning here because we need it to brown a little bit, but you have to be careful it does not over brown. And otherwise, what's going to happen is if they over brown, we'll have a bitter gravy. So as soon as the ginger and the garlic starts becoming golden brown, we will add in the onions. Okay, so as an addition to the ingredients that we just discussed, we will also be making a kadai masala, because without a kadai masala, which is a blend of spices, any kadai gravy is incomplete. Okay, so we will talk about the kadai masala a little later once this gravy starts cooking. So the garlic and ginger is started turning golden brown. I am adding a teaspoon of cumin, whole cumin into it. I'll wait for a few seconds before it starts crackling. I'm leaving this cumin here because I will use it for the spice mix also. Okay, the cumin crackles and in go the onions. I could have put in the cumin in the beginning, but then what would have happened is if I had put in the cumin in the beginning, so what would happen is because the other spices are bigger in size, the cumin would have overcooked or overburned. So what's going to happen is now the cumin and the other spices are going to blend in this onion and garlic. So here the yellow gravy cooking. I'm just kind of stirring it a little bit so that it cooks uniformly. Okay, so I want to discuss with you. We have already discussed it. I want to discuss the theory behind the tadka or the chonk here. Why do we need to have a sequence of putting spices or other ingredients into a dish? Why can't we put everything together and cook it like we do sometimes, when we are staying in a PG or friends together? Let us cook everything together and make a khichdi out of it. So you can only actually take out a khichdi out of that, or you can take out a mixed pulao or something. But when you are cooking a professional gravy, or you're cooking a dish at home or in the hotel or wherever you're cooking, it is very important that the dish has, you have to follow a sequence. Now initially you take oil. As I told you a few moments earlier, I said there is a major similarity between the nuts and the spices. The similarity goes like this. As I said, nuts have oil. The same way most of the spices have essential oils in them. As soon as you heat the spices to a certain temperature, they start releasing those essential oils. Now important is, when we say chonk, it is very important to understand that the oil is not smoking. It should always be medium hot oil, because what will happen if the oil is smoking, you put the spices in, what's going to happen? The spices are going to burn on the outside and they are not going to release the oils, essential oil, because they're still cold inside. So it's very important, medium hot oil. The spices go in, you let them cook for some time. When they start crackling, that means the humidity inside has started heating up and the oils, essential oils, have started coming out. So because the essential oils have started coming out, you know that your chonk or the oil that you had put has got flavored. Once the oil is flavored, then you put in rest of your ingredients into the oil. I think I will add in a little bit more of water into my yellow gravy, because just a little bit of water, and stir it so that it cooks uniformly. Okay, so we will have to wait for the onions to caramelize there. In the meantime, let me talk about the kadai masala. I'll get the ingredients. Okay, I'm sure you've all heard of kadai paneer, kadai moor, kadai khum, khum is mushroom, or kadai machli. Now there are two major elements of any kadai dish, three rather. One priority is that the dish has to be cooked in a kadai, right? Now when we say kadai chicken, or we say tawa murg, or we say handi laziz, why do we associate a dish with the container that it has been cooked? I'm sure you all have studied methods of cooking in year one. So whenever we talk about a kadai chicken, you have to understand that it is cooked in a wok-shaped container. Now, what happens in a wok-shaped container? Whether you are cooking on charcoal fire, whether you are cooking on wood fire, whether you are cooking on gas, whether you are cooking on induction, any fire for that matter, any heat, the heat is coming from the bottom, and the center of the container or the kadai is getting heated more than the sides. So what are you doing? You keeping on stirring it. That is what you do with most of the kadai cooked items. Okay, you keep on stirring so that all the items on the all the ingredients on the sides keep on going to the center and getting caramelized and coming out. Even when you cook a kheer or you cook milk for making rabdi inside a kadai, you keep on stirring it so that it keeps on moving and uniform cooking is happening. So, but at the same time, the pressure, the most of the heat is coming from the bottom and is getting concentrated in the center. That is the difference. Now, look at handis. Okay, handis, especially the bagonas or the straight handis, the flat ones in which you generally make chop or biryani, etc., etc. So what happens is there also, especially chop and other gravies, which are thick gravies generally. So what we do is the temperature is distributed evenly along the base of the container. So that gives a completely different flavor profile to a dish. So kadai is always number one, the container, which makes a lot of difference, and number two, this masala that we are making, which is a combination of onions, tomato, ginger, garlic, whole spices, and then we also use a blend of spices together, which is generally generic called a kadai masala. So wherever you see a kadai dish being served, the kadai masala is inside the gravy, which has been put at some stage. We'll also put, and then there is also in the finishing on top they put these spices which are coarsely ground, because that gives a different flavor profile to the dish. Okay, let me talk about the masala now. Okay, so if you see on the uh, general kadai masalas that are made, there are three important ingredients that everyone puts. Okay, one is whole red chilies. Okay, whole red chili. Then there is coriander seed, dhania ka seed. Okay, and then there is cumin, jeera. Cumin, coriander seed, and red chili. These are three spices which you will see universally being used in the kadai masala. But uh, when we were learning, so what was said that if you are making a kadai masala separately for a dish that you are going to make today, and this gravy is not going to stay in the refrigerator and you are not going to use it with a variety of the dishes, then you would add two more extra ingredients. One would be black pepper, which would bring in the heat, and number two would be fennel seeds, saunf. Okay, so saunf and black pepper are two additions to this gravy instead of the red chili, coriander, and cumin. So what we're going to do is today I'm going to use all five of them. Obviously, I'm going to use the saunf and the black pepper sparingly, and I'm going to use the rest of the three. They will form the major bulk of the masala. Okay, so my onions have already started browning. So while I am getting ready for this masala, let me first prepare the powdered spices for my brown gravy. Here what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix them into water. Just reduce the heat here because it has to uniformly. Okay, so now first I'm going to take coriander powder, 1, 2, and 3 parts of coriander powder. I'm going to take 1 part of cumin powder. I'm going to take 2 parts of red chili powder. I told you I'm using Kashmiri red chili, 2 parts, and I'm going to take 1 part of turmeric powder. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this, I'll just reduce the heat further so that while I am doing this, I'll also add in just a little bit of water to regulate the temperature here, because my onions have already started caramelizing well, because it has garlic and ginger also. I don't want them to burn. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add some water, just a little bit of water. The intention is to get a very bright color from the chilies, because these are Kashmiri chilies. They will anyway give a bright color, but my experience also tells me that if you add them in water, because we do that in Rogan Josh, etc., if you add them into water, what is going to happen is they're going to give you a slightly better color than you would get otherwise with dry masalas. So I'm mixing it, some more water. Right. Okay, you must have also noticed that I have not added the tomatoes as yet. So my tomatoes will add as a buffer for me to stop the masalas overcook. Okay. And in any case, if you put tomatoes in the beginning, the onions will take more time to cook, because it is a reaction with the with the acid in the tomatoes. The cooking time of the masala will increase. So now I am putting in the spices. I'll add some more water because I don't want to waste the spices. Okay, done. Mix it. Increase the temperature again a little bit. And now I wait for the masala and the onions to leave, because now I put water. After some time you will see that it will start leaving oil. Okay, now my yellow gravy is ready. I will pick it up with, I'll pick it up, I'll show it to you on the screen. You see the color of the gravy. Okay, the onions are completely softened, the cashew nut is soft. Okay, and it's all blended together. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to leave it for cooling on the side, and then we're going to blend. I'm going to ask the chef to blend it. Wow. Okay, so see the color of the brown the kadai gravy. Okay, we'll boil it for some time. I will wait for the masala to leave oil. In the meantime, I'm going to take another pan and I'm going to start preparing for the kadai masala. Just a little bit of a stirring here, and I will keep the temperature fairly low. I'm keeping it. This goes from 300 to 2000. So I'm putting it only at 500 because I do not want the pan to be very hot. and I will be manipulating it with my hand. So I'm just putting it at around between 300. Okay, I'll wait for it to leave some oil. In the meantime, let me weigh the spices for the kadai masala. Okay, so 2 tablespoons of coriander seeds, 4 red chilies, 1 full tablespoon of cumin, and now I am using the 2 additional ingredients: black pepper, not more because we are adding red chili, so 1 teaspoon of black pepper, and 1 tablespoon of the soft or fennel powder. Okay, some more cooking. Okay, I'll see if I can show you what is happening to the brown gravy just close to the camera. If you can see what is happening to the brown gravy, it's come together. It's already started sizzling and leaving some oil. Maybe in a minute or so, it will be filled with rogan on side. Okay, I'm going to collect that rogan and use it right in the end. And in the meantime, let it cook for some more time, and then I will add in the tomatoes, cook it for some time till the time the tomatoes have already become soft and pulpy, and there is no more big pieces of tomatoes left, so our gravy is ready. Okay, and I will see at that stage if we need to add in some water. Now if you see, my pan is becoming warm, so I will mix in these spices with my hand, blend them together, and I will put them into the pan. Okay, all these spices go into the pan. Now, as I told you, very important, please do not overheat the pan. As soon as you overheat the pan and you put in the spices will get cooked on the outside. You will not get the essential oils. You will not get the enough flavor. And normally, what will happen is, if you grind them later on, number one, it's going to be the flavor is going to be more on the smokier side, and you will not get the real flavors of the mix of spices. Okay, now brown gravy, I just showed it to you. It's already started leading on the oils. I can see oil. I can see a lot of rogan coming up. So now the tomatoes go in. Sometimes people also put salt at this stage, because the tomatoes again dehydrate because of the salt. I'm not putting salt now because I will be making kadai note from this, and I will be then, maybe marinating the chicken with some spices and salt. So I'll not be putting salt at this moment. I'll let it cook. The tomatoes have gone let it cook for some time. I'll cover it, and then I will add in some water if required towards the end. In the meantime, my spices are just warming up. At this stage, when they started warming up, I'll increase one more step in temperature. Now also remember, if you want to keep this spices, the kadai masala, for a longer time, there is another tip. You can add some salt into it. Okay, if you want to leave it in leave it in a jar for a very long time, because a lot of people make spices at home. If you want to make a jar of it, add salt into it. Salt, as you know, works as a dehydrating agent, and it will not let too much of humidity come in. And of course, you have to close the jar. Maybe cover it with a cloth first, and then close the jar tightly after the spice has been cooled. Okay, so just a little bit of tossing. The flavors have started coming together. My brown gravy need a little bit of more humidity. I'm adding in just a little bit of water so that the tomatoes can blend in properly. And now I can also increase the temperature a little bit. Okay, at this stage I'll increase one more step of the heat here. It can be really very dangerous if you have a glove on your hand and you're touching a very hot pan, but because it's not very hot, that is why I'm touching the pan. Otherwise, the glove can get stuck to your hand. Okay. Okay, done. My spice is done. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cool it a little bit and I'm going to blend it in a mixie. And very coarse, it does not need to be fine, very coarse. And we will use it twice in the making of the kadai chicken that we are doing. I'll just put it here. हल्का सा घुमा देना इसको कोर्स फाइन नहीं होगा एकदम मोटा मोटा घुमा दे मिक्स दो बार बस. Okay, so the gravy is cooking. Okay, so while the gravy is cooking, I'm going to go into another function now. Because my yellow gravy is going to cook faster, is going to cook first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare the kofta now, because we'll be making malai kofta, and I will be cooking the gravy initially and then adding the kofta on top. So we'll be making the malai kofta. Okay, so we clean up a little bit. The spices remain. Little bit of reduction of temperature so that it starts simmering. Okay, we go to the preparation of the kofta. Okay, like we say, tomato came to India only 1,000 years back, 900 years back. Onion came to India 1,900 years back. You can also say that kofta came to India much later. Okay, so kofta is primarily not a word. There could have been something looking like a kofta earlier, but at the same time there was nothing called a kofta. This these words have come from the Ottoman Turkish language. Kofta, kefta, kafta. These were basically meat items, which was basically any leftover meat which were chopped, etc., bound and put into the gravies. So the kofta that we're going to do today is we're going to use cottage cheese, and cottage cheese also was brought to the method, the technology of making cheese was also brought primarily by Portuguese, but at the same time there was some variety of this kind of cottage cheese being used, which we call chena, was being used in the Vedic and post-Vedic times. So I'm using around 1.5 cups of cottage cheese, which has already been grated, paneer, which was grated, and I'm going to use around half a cup of potato, which is primarily for the binding, and because I'll be manipulating it with hand, okay, so now I'll add in some cumin powder into it. Some cumin powder, some chopped ginger, just for that crunch, and some freshly chopped coriander, finely chopped coriander, so that it does not come into the mouth as a foreign object when you're eating the kofta, because the name is malai kofta. So it has to taste and feel like malai. That is, much better than cream. Then we will use some mawa or khoya, mawa, just 1 tablespoon. We don't want to make it too sweet. And now there are two things that I'm going to add into it, which you may add, which you may not add. One is I'm adding corn flour, just a tablespoon of corn flour, just to give it a nice binding. And one more item that I'm adding into this is primarily, if you are using these koftas today, if you are consuming, serving these koftas today, then you can add this ingredient. And if you are not cooking it today, if you are using it tomorrow, keeping it and keeping the mixture and using it again in the evening, please don't add this. I am adding just a small pinch of baking soda or cooking soda into, just a pinch. That's it. It's going to give that fluffiness, that airiness to the kofta. Okay. And one last ingredient, salt. So I have oil here. I will just increase the oil. The oil has to be fairly hot, and we actually don't need to cook these koftas all the way inside, because they need to be creamier on the inside. Another 5 minutes and our brown gravy is done. The onions have just started, the tomatoes have just started becoming pulpy. I think I'll need half a tablespoon more of corn flour. Yeah. Very nice and fine. Just make it fine, and at the same time there is this crunch of the ginger. Then there is this see, it's already coming into making a ball, because that means the binding is come together. I'll manipulate it for some more time. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to portion it out into koftas. Now, there are a lot of versions of koftas. Some people make them like croquettes. Some people make the traditional koftas, which are round like gulab jamun. You will be. It is very interesting to see that when you look at the texture, of a good malai kofta, it is almost like a gulab jamun. Okay. The only thing is it is savory, it does not have sugar, and that does not mean some people don't put sugar into it. Some people do put sugar into it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shape it the oil is heating up. I need fairly high temperature oil. You can make it big, but the bigger you make, the lesser the core is going to cook. Always try the first kofta in the oil to check whether the temperature of the oil is perfect, whether your binding is perfect or not. You should always try. And then, of course, another important thing is that all the koftas should be the same size. Okay, and of course, it comes with time. You can have a weighing scale, and you can weigh each dough and then roll it up. Okay, the gravy is done. The tomatoes are all gone, and I'm going to ask the chef to cool this down. And if you can see the gravy, right? I'll come back. This is the brown gravy. I don't want to drop it on the camera. So this is the brown gravy, the kadai gravy. Okay, I go back. I will get in the kadai here, which I have already heated up a little bit. And I'll bring down the temperature to medium hot. As I was telling you, you need to have consistent sizes, because if you don't have consistent sizes, then you will have inconsistent cooking inside the kofta. And when you're pressing it, it has to be really pressed well, so that you have a nice consistency on the surface. You have a nice texture on the surface, and you please follow. You first press it in one hand. When you see that it has become tight, okay, and then you roll it up to give it a particular shape. Right. Okay, so I increase the temperature. So I made 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 koftas. I'm going to put in the bigger one to check in whether the consistency is perfect, or whether we will have the right color, and we will save it. Right. Okay, I'll put one kofta. As I told you, we need to try the koftas whether they are the temperature of the oil is perfect. It seems to be good. Otherwise, what's going to happen is, because the paneer cottage cheese has a lot of water in it, it is going to separate inside the oil if the oil is not very hot. So I'm putting a trial batch, and once the trial batch is done, I'll take it out, and then I will put rest of them. I can put all 4 of them together. I have 4 more of similar size. Okay, so my kadai masala has been ground. It is very coarse. It's not very fine. I needed it to be coarse. So kadai masala is ready. Let me look into my kofta. The kofta is cooking well. I will need it slightly golden brown, a little darker than the golden brown. That gives a good contrast with it gives a very good contrast with the gravy that I am doing, yellow gravy. Okay. Now I have actually taken the temperature to the full to the last setting of this induction. And always remember that whenever you are serving a malai kofta or any other kofta for that matter, especially if the kofta is not made out of meat, if you're serving a vegetable kofta, if you're serving a paneer ka kofta or an aloo ka kofta or some kind of a kofta, it always pays to keep the gravy at the bottom and the koftas on top, and then put a little bit of gravy on top. And if you're putting it on the buffet, then it always pays if you put the gravy on at the bottom and put the koftas on top. Otherwise, what's going to happen is they are, people while taking it from the buffet are not being going to, be able to identify, and they are going to break your kofta. Okay, you can see this. You can see this. The kofta is nice and golden brown, and it's also because of a pinch of soda that we put. It's also become very fluffy and light. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put rest of the four koftas for cooking. Don't stir the koftas directly, just stir in the oil so that they do not get stuck to each other. And always remember, don't put too many. Depending on the quantity that you're making and the size of your kadai, don't put too many koftas into the kadai at one time, because we are not poaching it, we're frying it. And the color of the koftas also depends on what kind of a gravy you have. Okay, if you have a very light gravy, you can cook it a little darker. If you have a fairly medium colored gravy, then you can cook it a little dark like we have done. So and keep on stirring it, otherwise it's going to color on one side. I can put in a tissue here, so that in case there is any extra oil, I can harness that oil, take that out. Okay, good. So they exactly look like gulab jamuns. I'll get them closer to the camera to show it to you. My kadai goes out, and I am now going to cook the kofta gravy. So you can see these koftas are exactly like gulab jamuns. Okay, and now we are going to cook them. Okay, so for this, I will need a deep pan, and I will get my gravy, which has now been blended, back. Okay, okay, I told you there will be rogan in the gravy. I'm going to take out this rogan from the gravy, collect it, and use it for garnishing later, because I do not want so much of rogan in the gravy now. So, Okay, so the gravy goes in the pan. We also have some cream here, and initially, if you remember, I had added only very little salt into this gravy. I'm going to add some more salt, but before that, I'm going to add in some water. Now, why do we add in some water? Because we want this gravy again, these the spices etc. that are there to blend nicely and come together as one group. Because what we did is we made it into a paste and then passed it through a strainer, and all the whole spices that they must have left their flavor in the gravy, and that is what I'm trying to get together. The kofta is ready already, and we just need to, okay, before that, before I finish it, I will also in the gravy add a few strands of green chili and a little bit of coriander, just so that it comes together. We'll also add some coriander on the garnish and some cream on the garnish. Okay, you have the choice of deciding whether you want to add cream or not. While the gravy is cooking, you have the choice of deciding that, or else you can only add gravy in the end as a garnish. Okay, so at this stage, because I've just added some salt, I'm going to check the taste, consistency, and the seasoning of the gravy. Just a little bit of cream into the finishing I'm going to add, and once I add the cream, I'll also check the seasoning now. Okay, there are a lot of people who add kasuri methi into this gravy towards the finishing. Now what happens is, because this is such a mild gravy, and if you add a strong ingredient like kasuri methi in it, it's going to only taste of kasuri methi. So I would suggest that when you're doing a pure yellow gravy, you do not put kasuri methi. But once you change it into methi kofta, methi malai kofta, etc., etc., at that time you can add the methi or whatever you want to add, kasuri methi, that is just toasted a little bit, and then that is added to the gravy. Okay, so the kofta gravy is finished. Just a taste, and then we can I can serve it. Some more salt and a little bit more of cream. Okay, so once we serve this dish, I'm going to try and take a few questions. I have questions already coming up on the WhatsApp. Okay, and then I'm going to take another set of questions when we finish with the next dish, which is the kadai chicken. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this plate and I'm going to put the gravy right at the bottom. And be careful so that it does not go onto the sides. Then I'm going to take the koftas and add in the koftas in here. 4 of them in a portion, and maybe a little bit of and I can also, because the gravy is yellow, I can add in a green chili, a slit green chili. Obviously, as I told you, you can take out the seeds. I can use the slit green chili as a garnish for this dish, and maybe just a little bit of coriander. So this is our malai kofta in yellow gravy. Okay, so this is the basic yellow gravy with malai kofta. Now we go to the another gravy, which is the kadai gravy. And as I promised you, we will be cooking kadai chicken, kadai murg, along with this gravy. So just a little bit of tidying up, and then I can start. Chef, this is एक ठंडा हो गया, इसको half blend कर दो और half ऐसे छोड़. You can remove that rogan from there. Okay. Only one more dish left. So now we go to the kadai chicken. For the kadai chicken, again, this time we will use only oil. We will not use ghee here. And we have some more ingredients which are an integral part of a kadai chicken. That is onion. Of course, we're going to add in some. There is already onion in the gravy, but we are going to add some more onions. As I told you, there are three elements. One is the gravy. One is the masala, which we have already made, and the third element is these fresh vegetables. Now, why did they put fresh vegetables? Because in a kadai, it is almost like a stir fry. So what you do is you add these fresh vegetables into the stir fry. We have onion, we have tomato, and we have capsicum. So what will we do with them? We'll cut them into dices, or we will cut them into the oriental style, the way we do in the Chinese style, which we call lozenges in the Western cutting, and you can call them triangles, you can call them wedges. So no problem, keep on. Okay, so I'll need two pans for this. So first, I will heat up this pan, and I will have to do the onions and the chicken and the capsicum together. So the onion is cut. Now, because I have certain amount of chicken, I am going to make this tomato seedless, and I am again going to cut it into wedges. Just exactly the same wedge that we cut the onions into, and then I will take the capsicum and I will take half of it. I don't need whole of it, and I am cutting it into wedges. Then I'll remove the seeds so that we don't waste too much of it, and cut it into wedges again. Seeds go out. Okay, so we have these three vegetables, and we have a pan ready. Okay, let me reduce the heat. Okay, so this one I'm going to add in the use the chicken, take the chicken, and as I told you, we'll marinate the chicken a little bit with the spices, and then we are going to cook the spices, the chicken, and these vegetables together. Okay, and then of course we are going to finish the gravy on that side, and after finishing the gravy, we'll add in the gravy into the chicken and finish it off. Chef, there is chicken in that fridge, most probably. Okay. Okay, now just before I start cooking the next gravy, we will be marinating the chicken with a little bit of this kadai masala. We're putting in a little bit of red chili powder, little bit of cumin powder, and we will toss it up together in the pan. We will also add these vegetables. Primarily, you have to understand that we will have to add, after the chicken, we'll have to add the onions. Then we will add in the capsicum, and then we will add in the tomato. We don't want to cook them. They will just be a part of the dish, so that it gets that kind of a amalgamation of green, red, and white, and then of course chicken. Okay, so I will put in this, where the place where I'm cooking chicken, I will put in some cumin, just a tea. Okay, and I will let it splutter a little bit, and then once it crackles, I'm going to take in the chicken. We have primarily chicken leg here, and which I've cut into 1.5-inch dices. That means each leg has been divided into 3 pieces. So I will add in a little bit of chili powder here, little bit of turmeric powder, and little bit of cumin powder, just half a teaspoon each. Okay, which almost acts as a binding for this. Okay, the spices have started crackling. I'm going to put in the chicken. Okay, I'm cooking the chicken in a bigger pan because of only one reason. It's going to cook uniformly, and I'm also going to get some color in here, because I'll need some color on the chicken. I'll need some color on this onion. Okay. Okay. While this is cooking, I will initially put it at very high temperature, because I want to seal the chicken on both sides so that it does not become dry. And then I will reduce the heat a little bit. Then again I will raise the heat, because I need to put in the capsicum and the onions, and then of course cook all of them together. Okay, so I have just over 1 portion of chicken here in this pan. Okay, in the meantime, on the other side, I am going to set up the gravy now. So what I have done with the gravy is I have got half of the gravy blended, and half of the gravy is cold and it's not blended. Cold means I did not get it blended at all. And if you see, I have more rogan. I'm going to take it out, and as I told you, I'm going to use it as a garnish in the end. So one more turning of the chicken, and it seals itself. Does not, it's anyway leg, so leg generally stays nice and juicy, and we are going to cook it more along with the onions. So at this stage, I'm going to add in the onions into the gravy, into the chicken, so that they are almost stir fried. We'll add the capsicum and the tomatoes a little later. Okay, now on the side of the kadai gravy, I'm going to add in some more spices, some red chili powder, just a teaspoon of red chili powder, some cumin powder, because we will be increasing the proportion, that the proportion of the gravy of the dish is increasing because we are putting chicken, etc., etc. So I am adding a little bit more of these spices to it to balance the taste. And of course, for us to get an appropriate color, I will put a little bit of water into the gravy so that it comes together. Although we need it quite thick. Once the onions and the chicken is cooked, it's come together, I'm going to show it to you so that you understand, what we have done to it. Okay, while the gravy and the chicken both are cooking, I will take a couple of questions. I will see if there are any questions that have come, because this is going to take some time. Chef Sudipto is moderating this class, and I'm sure he has already sent some questions. Yes, I seem to be having. The first question says, can we use mustard oil as it releases better color? We can't use mustard oil in these dishes because these dishes are originally, dishes which came with the Mughlai style of cooking, and mustard oil, because it has a very, very strong flavor in itself. We can use it, we can replace, but then you will have to see if the guest is accepting that. Can we use cashew nut and char magas paste? Yes, you can use cashew nut and char magas paste. In that case, you have to paste. I'm sure you are asking about the kofta curry. In that case, you have to have the raw cashew nut and raw char magas. There is another question which says how to check whether the koftas are cooked from inside. There is no way. As I told you, you will have to have a sample kofta, and after you have had a sample kofta, you will have to check whether it is cooked. And that is also important to check the consistency of the kofta, and of course the taste of the kofta. I'm just adding a little bit more water into the gravy while I take the questions. My capsicum and onion is also getting stir fried. Okay, at this stage I am going to add the tomatoes. I will take it to the camera and I will show it to you how they have come after I have added the spices. Okay, there is one more question which says, what is the required oil temperature for kofta? If you want to see, if you want to ask in terms of temperature of oil in centigrade, I would say it should be somewhere between 180 to 200 degrees. Otherwise, the kofta is going to break. What should be the oil temperature? Okay, while tempering, the temperature should be around 100, 120. Can we add milk or malai instead of cream? You can add milk, but not. You can add malai, not milk. Milk will curdle. And when I say malai, I don't mean the cream that you get in the market. Malai and cream are two different things. But sir, in shahi gravy, tomato should go. I never said I am making shahi gravy. We did not make shahi gravy today. We made a derivative of shahi gravy, which is the yellow gravy. We did not make shahi gravy. Shahi gravy is one, and in that yellow gravy, we did not put any tomato. Okay. Okay, please look at this. So we have basically stir-fried chicken, stir-fried capsicum, stir-fried onions. We're going to add the kadai masala into it. Okay, my kadai masala is here. I'm going to pinch of kadai masala here. And I'm going to put in some coriander and a little bit of salt And now the gravy goes in. A little bit of heat more, and okay, all this comes together. So while this cooks, I'm going to take my ready-made gravies and put them into these pans. First, the yellow gravy goes in for a good photograph while my chicken is cooking. And next, my kadai gravy goes in this pan, and some kadai masala on top. Put in some coriander here, just a little bit of. Okay. Some more kadai masala. Okay. Now we come to the stage of tasting. Perfect. Okay, now there are two important things that we have to taste. Number one, are we getting the blend of spices? Number two, is the consistency of the taste of the gravy perfect? Do we get that flavor of the capsicum and onions in the gravy? Yes, we get that. So now I'm going to portion out this dish of chicken. No cream here. There you can put cream, but I would say no, don't. Okay. So let us first take the pieces of chicken. Let us first put in some gravy on the base, because this gravy is quite chunky, so you can just put it as a base. Take in the pieces of chicken. Should be good. Some capsicum and onion on top. Some gravy, capsicum, onion, tomato, so that all the ingredients, that is the most important part of plating, that you should be able to identify all the ingredients that are there in the dish which you want the guest to see. Okay, especially the ones, I'm not talking about the blended spices, etc. You want the guest to see some of this. So we have the kadai chicken. I'm just going to spread it a little bit, some more capsicum, because that is where the beauty of this gravy comes. Okay, and we'll garnish it with some coriander, and we can also add in some ginger juliennes if you want, or some chopped ginger on top, and of course the little bit of kadai masala, because that is the first thing that you want the guest to taste. And because we made it from a very strong kadai masala, as I told you in the beginning, we will also add in some rogan into it. We could also have added some rogan into the kofta. So this is your chicken kadai. Okay, you can see the whole chunks of onion, the capsicum, the chicken. Okay, and it is quite thick. Now both the kofta and the kadai chicken can be served with a paratha. I have a methi paratha here. You can also serve it with a plain lachha paratha. So you can serve both of them with a lachha paratha, or I have methi paratha, so I used methi paratha instead of the lachha paratha. So students, that is our preparation of two gravies, one yellow gravy and one kadai gravy. And as a derivative of the kadai gravy, we made kadai murg or kadai chicken. And as a derivative of the yellow gravy, we made malai kofta. And then we put them all together. So these are two gravies that we made, two gravies and two dishes, two derivatives made out of this dish. So we are almost 1.5 hours into the making. So we finished these two gravies, basic gravies. We blended them. The yellow gravy we blended and passed it through a sieve. But the brown gravy, we just blended half of it and then used the chunky part and half of it to give a nice blend like this. And then we added the kadai masala, and we also added the vegetable like tomato, onion, etc., to the gravy. And this is what we have: two dishes, malai kofta with yellow gravy and kadai chicken with kadai gravy, along with a paratha. Thank you.